So the last couple of weeks, been talking about sharing your faith, how to do it. I asked you a couple of weeks ago to get involved in the conversation. You have overwhelmingly not, uh, and I get it. You know, I'm coming back and asking you to get involved in the conversation again. Um, so I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to put it back on you again. Um, I want to know what you think is effective. Um, if you're out there doing it, if you're out there sharing your faith with people, what do you think works? If you're not, why not? What do you think would help you to do so? Um, I made a comment. I pointed out a style that I don't care for. Talked about the guys who go out and seem to target events, particularly LGBTQ events, pride parades, pride gatherings, things like that. And they go out with bullhorns and want to go preach loudly and, frankly, in my opinion, obnoxiously at these events. And I don't think that it makes for productive conversations. Um, I don't see where that helps anything or creates a space for someone to want to meet Jesus. Um, I think it is divisive, personally. I mean, I'd love to talk to one of these guys and see why they think that that's effective. And have them tell me if they've had a good response to that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could tell me stories about how they have seen good things come from that. And if that's the case, I would gladly change my tune. But that does not seem that's not anywhere I see myself going or how I see myself doing it. I might see myself going to a place like that, but not in that manner. Um, if I were to go somewhere like that, I see myself going in a very different attitude, in a very different way. But but I'd love to see. I'd love to have an opportunity to go somewhere like college campuses and go out into the open square and talk to people and have conversations there. I'd love to be able to go out and talk to people on the street and just have Q&A opportunities there. Yeah, I realize I would have probably people come up to me and have very candid, real, argumentative type conversations about disbelief in God, and people always want to, it seems like, attack the intellectual of the Christian. Um, and I get that, and I would expect that, but that's what I think would be interesting and dare I say fun. Uh, but I think it would be an opportunity to connect with people. Um, I I talk to people at work all the time, one on one. That's where I think the most opportunity comes in, is the one on one, is the daily life. Uh, People at work know who I am. People at work see me at my best. People at work see me at my worst, unfortunately. Um, I think that's where our witness is on display the most, is in our day to day lives, not necessarily work, but just in our day to day lives, at home, at work, where people see us the most, where we are talking about Jesus, where we're not talking about Jesus, where we live in our frustration, where we deal with our stress, um, and where we tend to not be thinking about, are we putting our faith forward, but where we tend to be thinking about, um, you know, what am I doing in my day to day life right now? Is my boss getting on my nerves? Are my coworkers getting on my nerves? I'm not thinking about Jesus right now. I'm thinking about my deadlines. I'm thinking about my paycheck, and I'm thinking about the stress of life and my bills. And that's, I think, when we tend to put our life in Christ on display in potentially the worst possible way. That's where our witness becomes real. Um, and I don't always carry that the best. Maybe that's where I need to work on it. Maybe that's where you need to work on it. Maybe that's where our witnessing happens the most. But we need to always try to be intentional about it. We need to be intentional there. We need to find places to go and try to be intentional outside of that. This past week I had an opportunity to go out with a gentleman from our church and do jail ministry, which was an awesome opportunity. That was an amazing time, and enjoyed that. What opportunities do you have in front of you? What opportunities would you like to have in front of you? What do you think is effective? Like I said, I'm putting it in front of you because I want to hear from you. I would not ask if I did not want to hear from you. So, what would you like to see me do? What would you like to do? Let's have a conversation and let's figure out where we can go as individuals, perhaps together. Some of you undoubtedly live in the same town I do. Maybe we can get together and team up on something. Let's share our faith. Statistics show that 2% of Christians share their faith in a meaningful way. Let's change that. Let's raise those numbers significantly. That is our purpose. People ask all the time, what is our purpose in life? People are out there searching for their purpose in life, and Jesus put it to us. Last thing he told us before he left earth, go and make disciples. That is purpose. People are looking for it. We have it. It's right there, black and white. Well, in most Bibles it's red and white. But let's do that. That's our purpose in life. So let's figure out how we can make that more effective. I'll talk to you next time.